Hello and welcome again to another edition of the Gadget Lab podcast. I am Michael Calori.
I am Mike Isaac.
And today we're going to talk about some new news from Apple in the software realm. Then we're going to have
actual news, not a rumor.
Not a rumor, real news. It's not a rumor. And then we're going to
It's a tumor.
Then we're going to cut to Billy Brown, who's going to show us some badass knives. And then we're going to come back and show you two badass phones. And we're going to have a badass off with our phones. But first, let's talk about some news from Apple.
So something happened, right? And
Yes.
everyone freaked out. They actually had a release, or a hint of a release, right?
Yeah.
Like a developer release of their OS 10 software. Is that OS X software 10 point? Sorry, I always want to say 10 because of the X. I'm Roman at heart.
Mac OS
Yes.
is no longer Mac OS. It is now called OS X. And this is
10.7 or 8?
I think this is 8.
8.
10.8.
Mountain Lion.
Mountain Lion. So we had Lion last year,
Right.
OS X Lion, which brought a lot of new sort of iOS-y type behaviors to the desktop. Basically what Apple's been doing over the last year is they've been taking their tablet and phone operating system and bringing the lessons learned from that onto the desktop.
Yeah.
It's sort of a contentious move. People aren't necessarily thrilled with it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people haven't even updated yet, like me.
You're still on 0.7 or
Yeah,
6?
I'm still on Snow Leopard, yeah.
Jesus.
I'm just old school,
Wow.
What can I say?
That's loud.
Lion is cool though. We have it here at the office and of course I've played with it a little bit. And
It took me a while to get used to some of the gestures, going back and forth, three fingers and then up and down scrolling and things like that.
I think that was the smart thing to do, was to do that first so that everybody could take a longer time to get used to it. Because the changes that have come out this week are more along app integration than they
Right.
are about gestures.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of the apps that exist as standalone apps on the tablet and on the phone, things like messages, the calendar, there's a
iMessage, right?
Yep, there's a notification center, just like there is on the phone, now on the desktop. So a lot of those things have made the jump to the desktop, and I think people are going to probably find that to be a more seamless experience, especially considering it uses iCloud to sync everything on the back end now.
Ooh, see, that's what I think is one of the more interesting aspects. They're pushing iCloud that much more, right? Like this hardware company is suddenly saying, hey, we can actually do cloud services as well, right? So,
Well, I wouldn't consider Apple necessarily just a hardware company.
ooh, we're gonna get philosophical here.
Yeah,
so
I would consider them-
software company, I guess, as well with the
Yeah.
iOS and now OS
Yeah,
X.
I
OS
think
10.
the redo of iOS, the redo of Mac OS X, Mac OS.
I don't even know what name to call it.
Acronym soup. So
yeah.
like a decade ago when they redid everything under Unix,
Yeah.
then they really became a software powerhouse, I think, as far as operating systems and intuitive interfaces, things like that. And then the iPhone solidified that, and now we're seeing the natural extension of that back into the desktop.
Although, no more acronyms.
Anyway,
the one point I want to bring up though is that they're the social aspect, right? They are still stuck with only Twitter in terms of outside app integration for, like, you can tweet your stuff, but you can't. I mean, the most conspicuous absence is the lack of Facebook.
Right, and no Google Plus. What are you talking about? So it's out now for developers, and it'll be out for consumers this summer. And you can read our full review by Christina Bonington on Wired.com.
Probably in a week or so.
Yeah, midweek.
Next week.
Okay, now we're going to go out to the woods with Billy. He's going to show us his knives.
So if you've got that Mayan calendar sitting in your living room, you know we've got about 10 more months before everything goes to hell. So when all the electricity's gone and we're fighting for water and gasoline, pretty much this is going to be your only tool for survival. This is Gerber Gear's Survival Series Parang. It comes with a full tang, a 13-inch curved blade, and has really solid construction with a rubberized grip, so if things get wet, things not going to go flying out of your hand. The Survival Series Parang is my favorite blade because the full tang construction gives it a really even weight and a really good swing feel, so if a zombie comes up on you, you can really just get right into his guts. So if you really need to do a lot of damage or you just want to chop a lot of wood, the Camp Axe 2 is going to be the one for you. It's got most of its 34 ounces in the head, and its lightweight nylon handle means you're basically power swinging it every single time. It's kind of like a front-loaded softball bat. And the hammer on the back makes it a really versatile camping tool. This is the Gator Machete Jr. It weighs about 14.3 ounces, comes with a nice saw on the back of the blade, and has a great Gator grip for use during rain or anytime it's wet, the thing's not gonna fly out of your hand. It's probably my least favorite out of the three because the blade only goes right into here in the handle, and it's a little wobbly and it's lightweight, but it feels a little flimsy. But for 20 bucks, you're gonna be getting a lot of blade.
So he went house on the coconuts, but he didn't kill any squirrels. I wanted to see him like, boom!
Dude, I thought you were like a vegetarian or something.
I'm a pescatarian.
So he's allowed to do that to
Oh yeah.
squirrels are they have gills or something like that?
They're vermin. Okay. They eat through the cables on the outside of your house. They're stealing all my nuts.
You are crazy. So, let's talk about phones.
Let's talk about phones. We've got two Android devices. Both of them have a weird, interesting quirk that seems out of touch with the times. This one is the Droid 4.
It's got a keyboard, which was supposed to have gone the way of the Dodo after the iPhone and things like that, with more touchscreen focused interfaces came in, right? But there's still people that use Blackberries out there. There are still people that prefer the keyboards, and Motorola recognizes that, right? And I mean, like the Enterprise, that hasn't gone away. A lot of people still use them, and they still sort of, I think, the people that got hooked on Blackberries originally,
or sidekicks,
or the sidekick,
Yeah.
They need their keyboard. So this one
with thumb jockeys. What do we call them? Yeah, thumb jockeys.
Is that what you call them?
So what do you think of that? Do you type on it? Is it easy? Is it
Yeah, I mean,
clumsy?
it is very well constructed. It is probably the best physical keyboard that that Motorola has made yet. This is the fourth iteration of the Droid series, right?
Yeah.
So it's a Verizon phone. This is the Droid brand, but they do the keyboard very well. It's easy to type. I did it really fast. I did the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog sentence, right, in like a matter of seconds. That's the You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's the sentence that uses every letter in the English language.
I just thought it was a colorful sentence.
No, that's why they have it, because it uses every letter in the English alphabet.
Got it.
English alphabet.
So it works. The only
No ligatures.
the only quibble I have is that the keyboard is a little bit off center. In order
So
to
you kind of have to do this.
Yeah, I mean, basically you move your thumbs like a millimeter to the left.
Unacceptable.
Or to the right,
No,
I
I'm
guess.
just
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds stupid, but it actually you notice it in your thumb stretching when you're typing. So in all, it's cool if I'm like a dude in a suit that has important business meetings or whatever to attend and I need to respond to emails fast. I think this is a pretty nice phone. I'm going to get the full review later, I guess.
I don't buy that argument.
No?
I think you can type just as fast on a software keyboard with practice.
I've heard that.
Dedication.
I think that's total BS, man.
And
My fingers
swipe.
are too fat to really. Oh, you can do the swipe thing?
Some people can.
That's
I'm
a
getting there.
whole new keyboard in and of itself.
Well, speaking of thumb stretching, we have this.
You're attending a new yoga
my
class.
goodness, look at the size of it. It's huge.
What the hell is that?
This is the Samsung Galaxy Note. And
Tab phone?
It's a phone. It's like over 5 inches, 5.3 inches, I think. It's an AMOLED screen. It's brand new hardware. All the specs look awesome on paper. The screen is big and bright and beautiful.
It's freaking massive, is the thing.
Hello?
Like, you look ridiculous with
Hello?
that held up to your head.
It's gigantic, and it's really funny too because I pull this out and I show it to people and they're like, "Oh my God, what is that thing?" But
do you like it though? I mean, do you okay?
It has a stylus, right? So it has handwriting recognition. So you can take notes with it. You can write emails with it. You can write text messages.
Okay.
You could doodle on it.
So there's function built into it. It's not big for the sake of being big. You actually
Right.
This is my little notepad.
It's meant to be a two-handed device with the pen and the notepad. You can use your finger instead of the stylus as well. And it's not really that great as a one-handed device. You
can
can't.
fit it.
Yeah, you can't like the thumb stretching thing is really annoying. You can't really type with one hand like this when you're writing, you know, on the soft keyboard.
Right.
Holding it like this, forget about it. You have to use two hands. Most people do anyway when they're holding it in the what is that, landscape mode. The thing about it that is interesting is that it is a full-featured Android handset, so it's a phone, but it's just gigantic.
Yeah.
And I've only used it for a day, but I would say it's too big.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend the weekend with it, and I'm going to take notes of it. I'm going to bring it to the grocery store and cross things off my list, and hopefully not lose the stylus. And then we will give you a full review of this next week.
Nice.
So we have the Samsung Galaxy Note, $300, AT&T 4G device. And it runs not ice cream sandwich.
Not the latest version, right? Probably gingerbread, I'm guessing.
And that is the Motorola Droid 4 with the QWERTY keyboard, which
Verizon,
is also 300.
I think it is 300. Yes.
On Verizon contract, and it also runs not ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. So these are supposed to have ice cream sandwich coming, but that timeline is
Soon.
I think, yeah, exactly.
Soon.
To be determined.
Soon. Island time. Island time.
The most important part of the podcast.
Oh yes, we have to give away. Last week we showed off the Element case, the Vapor Pro case, the fancy Black Ops, $100 case for your iPhone.
An actual nice iPhone case.
We asked Twitter what Mike Isaac should get tattooed on his head, and we have a winner.
There were a lot of colorful responses, probably over 100, something like that.
Moon Tower _ATL. I'm assuming this person lives in Atlanta. You're our winner. Mike Isaac should get his own face, including his glasses and his beard, tattooed on the back of his head.
I think that's awesome. I could be basically watching you at all times, like you should feel that I am, or something like that. So, Moon Tower, congratulations! You get the new iPhone case. I'm not going to tattoo my face on the back of my face.
Oh shucks! Sorry, that was the deal. Mike would get to pick what
Right.
we did and what we did not do with the case. Whether he keeps the case and he gets the tattoo, or you get the case and he does not get the tattoo.
So I like that. I like that giveaway. I think you should.
We all lose.
Continue.
Moon Tower ATL, you win.
Continue thinking of tattoo suggestions for me. Maybe for you someday. Maybe you'll get your.
Yeah, right. Party at the Moon Tower. Anyway, that's all for this week. We'll be back next week with more phones, more gadgets, more comically enormous smartphones with styluses and keyboards on the Gadget Lab. Until then.